We'll get into the Suns now and talk about the main event coming up Saturday, April 26th.
My preview of this fight is going to, and then you jump in and take me wherever you want, bud. But my preview of this fight is the same as it would have been for the fathers. How unusual is that? Really? You can't make that up. The Eubank, and maybe it's because the influence of the fathers, watching them in the gym, influencing them in the gym to fight the style similar to them. Yes, very much so. Maybe that's it. But whatever it is strikingly similar. My preview, Eubank will be on the outside. He's a bigger guy. He's a natural big. He's going to look to catch the smaller man coming in. Ben is going to have the burden, like his father, of bringing the fight to Eubank. He's going to have the burden of that and the risk of that on his shoulders, where he's going to have to take more chances. He's naturally more of an offensively aggressive fight. I like Ben. He hasn't learned how to lose yet. He hasn't been real active in the last few years. One fight every year, maybe something like that. Hasn't been real active. I would like it better if he was a little more active, but he's the younger man. He's got more of a prototypical pro style that most fans find fan-friendly and find it easier to kind of embrace and wrap their heads around. He's going to look to get to you. He's going to go to the body. He's a good offensive fighter. He's going to look to get in close. He's going to look to put punches together. He's going to look to bring the fight. He's going to look to be the offensive force. And again, he's got a guy who's bigger, who's longer, whose style, whose temperament is to fight a fight on the outside, take less risk, try to make you take the risk, make you pay for that. So it should be, with the contrasting styles, it should be really, really interesting. So you got Ben, the smaller man, and then there's a hydration clause. We got to get into that because he is too small. He was a welterweight that he fought a few fights at junior middleweight. But Eubank's been a middleweight and super middleweight most of his career. So he is the guy who's bigger. I see the fight as Ben having to get close without taking damage. So it's going to be up to him and his trainers that they came up with the right plan in the gym. Feints, draw the punches, the counters out of Eubank before you walk into them. Knock on the front door, come in the side door. But not be what Eubank wants you to be. Predictable, coming in the front door where he can counter the crap out of you and catch you with the biggest shots. For me, that's the preview. He's got to be able to be aggressive in an effective, efficient way without being recklessly aggressive. That's it. Put a bow on it. For Eubank, he's got to be able to control the outside and make Ben try to get to him. And again, one of my favorite cliches, mug him when he goes through a bad neighborhood. Make him go through a bad neighborhood to get to him and catch him. Catch him with an uppercut, catch him with a straight right hand, but catch him and do damage. Here's how I think it's going to play out. I don't know how pretty it's going to be. Because Ben will look to get close. He's going to have to be really disciplined with his fight plan, his training, where when he gets close, he doesn't get tied up. The referee's going to be important. That it's got to be a referee for Ben. It's got to be, and for Hearn, it's got to be a referee that allows you to fight inside. If he's breaking you every bit, Eubank's going to have the edge. See, I'm going to go deep into this. I'm going to give you everything to put your couple of shekels. We call them shekels or over there. Shekels, or actually put a few quid, right? My brothers and sisters, bet responsibly, not recklessly, but a couple quid. Where are you going to put a couple quid? Well, you're going to, again, you better have the right referee if you want Ben that's going to allow him to fight on the inside. If you have Eubank, you want a referee that's going to break him every time they get in close. Because Eubank wants to have distance and range to do his damage. Ben must be prepared to move his feet back, give himself room, not get smothered. And again, it takes two to tango to tie someone up. You don't get tied up just because you get tied up. You allow the guy to tie you up. You put your hands where he can tie you up. You get too close where he can grab you. It's going to be up to Ben to have prepared where he does not make it easy for Eubank to tie him up on the inside. He don't cooperate with him. And for Eubank, he's not afraid to tie guys up. That's why I'm saying it could get a little where it's not the prettiest fight. Because Eubank, he gets off on the outside, you get close, he'll tie you up. He has no qualms, no problems with people booing. He's got thick skin with that stuff. He got no problem if they boo, he ties them up. As long as he thinks it's going to give him the edge in the fight to win. And you know what? Quite frankly, I agree with him. That's all he should care about. Nothing else. I think it's an interesting fight. I like the style of Ben because I'm more of that. I like that style. You know, he's more conventional. He's tough. He's a good offensive fighter. He'll mix defense with offense. You know, he'll move his head. I like that style. I like it more than the Eubank style. But it doesn't mean that Eubank can't be effective and efficient. He has been with his style. Now, as far as the weights, with this rehydration, here's my question. You told me about it. You told me that the contract's 160. There's a rehydration clause that Eubank can't come in over 170. Can't be more than 170. What does that mean? I want to know more than that. That I've been there. I've had fighters with these rehydration clauses. What they usually do is the next morning, you can't be more than 10 pounds over the contracted weight. But that's in the morning, 8 in the morning. Then you go and you eat, you continue to hydrate, you eat a couple more meals. By the time you get into the arena, you could have put on another 10, 15 pounds. That is what I want to know. When? I don't want to just know that they're telling me, oh, don't worry, he can't get more than 170. There's a rehydration clause. But when are you going to weigh him? Are you going to weigh him in the morning and that's it? It means nothing to me. Nothing. Advantage Eubank. But does it mean when he gets to the arena 2 hours before the fight, you're going to make him get on a scale and make sure he's not one? I think it's a little late then. What are you going to call the fight off?
I don't know how management could agree with that. How could you go along and allow your fighter to go along with a clause like that 2 hours before the fight? I would hope it's early in the morning.
Yeah, but if it is early in the morning, I hope it's not. See, I'm going to go against you, and I hate to go against you, because to me, then it's just for us to think something was done. It's just flash. It's just show. Because they say, oh, we protected the fighters. We made sure he couldn't get more than 170 pounds. But did you really protect him? Because there's another 12 hours before the fight. In those 12 or 15 hours, whatever it is, in those 15 hours from the morning to the fight, how much more weight's he going to put on? That's my concern. My concern is, hey, okay, he can't come in more than 10 pounds the next morning. But I want to know that the guy that gets in the ring, that ain't the guy getting in the ring, the guy that gets on the scale in the morning. That's my point. The guy who's getting in the ring with my smaller fighter is the guy who had 12 more, 15 more hours to continue eating and drinking. What does he weigh? I want to know what that guy weighs. Then it's real. Then you're looking out for the fighter. That is something that really can keep the bigger man from really being way too big.
But then to that point, then should we go back to same-day weigh-ins? Then it doesn't hurt the fighter the night before.
Because then a fighter, instead of always looking to have an edge, because you could do a weight cut, kind of like the MMA fighters. They do these unbelievable weight cuts. Unbelievable. But instead of saying, okay, I'm really, let's just say for argument's sake, I'm really a middleweight. I'm a middleweight. I'm huge. I'm big. I'm Marvin Hagler. That's a good middleweight. Wow, that's a good one. I'm Marvin Hagler. But I want to fight at welterweight. So I devise a way of, for one day, just one day, I'm able to get down. I'm able to make that weight crash, make that weight cut and get in there. And then when I get in with the welterweight, by the time I put everything back on, I'm back to being a middleweight. I have an advantage, The only way you really eliminate that stuff from ever happening is do what they did in the old days. Where they had same-day weigh-ins. Because you had to be that you weren't a middleweight getting on that scale and becoming a welterweight. No, you were a welterweight. You weren't doing that, because if you did do that, you weren't even getting to the fight that night. Somebody would have to carry you to the freaking ring, because you'd be too weak. And you got to be strong when you get in there. So, yeah, day of. Actually, the premise was that this was safer. Give them time to rehydrate, give them time to get nutriment in. And in reality, it wasn't safer. You created situations where you had guys way too big in the ring the night of the fight. In reality, what they thought wasn't safer is safer, because you're making guys really fight at a weight that they were born to fight at.
Yeah, a lot to unpack here, a lot of questions to be answered, and the time is almost here. The UK fans been waiting a long time. This fight was supposed to happen a few years ago, and Ben had some issues with the anti-doping board. The fight did not happen, but it's happening. Like you said, Eubank has been the lead promoter. The egg heard around the world. The bad blood is for real. I can't wait to watch this one. So we will find out soon enough. But with that being said, it sounds like you are going to go with Ben. Is that your winner, your prediction?
All I said, Bud, I didn't give you everything, Bud. I wait for, you know what I mean? All I'm saying is I like his style. I like he's younger. I like that he's hasn't learned how to lose, as I always say, in the industry. All of that. I've seen Eubank where he got knocked out one time against Liam Smith. And when he did, it was because Liam Smith, aggressive fighter, was able to get in close and take advantage of some of his vulnerabilities that are harder to take advantage at a distance. Catch him with his hands down. Catch him, because Eubank is a guy who's more of a natural sort of athletic guy that his technique is not going to be as buttoned up as Ben, who's more conventional. He's going to be anything but conventional. He's going to drop his hands, going to throw from, and he's going to do it and depend on his reflexes, his timing, his range, that he can do it before you get close to him. And there's vulnerabilities to that. There's flaws to that. Listen, I give you, I like him. I like him as a fighter. I give him credit. But when you fight that way, you drop your hands to throw the uppercut. You pull back with your hands down. You look to control that space, like I said, and take advantage of being quicker than the other guy before he gets close to you. When you do that and you don't have the buttoned-up technique, the conventional technique of hands up and not pulling back, if a guy gets close to you, now you pay a price for it. Now you get caught because your hands are down. Now you get caught because you're standing up. Now you get caught because you're pulling back. But it takes a guy who's aggressive and is aggressive in a smart enough way and a developed enough way to not let your strengths play out on him before he gets close. to not allow you to use your strengths that I just described, being quick hands and good punch on the outside. It has to be an aggressive fighter who can get in safely. And then once they're in safely, if they don't get tied up, if they're prepared for the stuff that Eubank will do, like tie him up and then make it go back to the outside and take a risk all over again. He'll tie you up, not let you do what you want on the inside, and then go outside and make you take the risk all over again, hope that this time he catches you. If you got an aggressive fighter who can get in and not get tied up, he can take advantage of the things that are there to take advantage of with a Eubank, who likes to work on his athleticism, but will drop his hands, will pull back, will be vulnerable, has been vulnerable, was vulnerable that one time against Liam Smith. That's how I see Eubank having to win the fight. Not Eubank, Benn having to win the fight if I was going to take Benn. I'm not ready to take him.
You're on the fence. This is unlike you.
No, I'm on the fence. I'm going to say maybe the bigger guy. Maybe the bigger guy who is a little bit more athletic, can catch, who is probably mentally more prepared because of his father, because of his own temperament being more similar to his father's, maybe more mentally prepared for the theatrics, for the stage, for the enormity of this stage, for the bright lights, for all the stuff that's going on. I think Ben, I like Ben. I think he's handled it really well. I see nothing where he's shown me a weakness. But Eubank might be better suited for this kind of environment, to handle this kind of environment that's going to be at play. It's going to be at play. And I think it's going to, if he gets his way, he's going to do two things. And part of it is going to be to make it ugly. He's going to look to catch Ben taking chances, and then he's going to be an octopus. And if it's that, the fans won't be happy. They won't be thrilled because it's not the most pleasing fight to watch. But Eubank, at the end of the day, might be happy because it'll be an effective strategy.
Yeah.
I didn't say who's going to win. You like the way I left that?
Yeah, I'm going to just put it out there. I'm going to go with Ben. I think Ben's going to win. I think the younger, hungrier, twitchier guy who's been beyond disrespected with the egg to his face is going to close the gap. And I like his chances. I'm favoring Ben. But that was a thorough breakdown.
I can see that. No, I could be right with you with that Ben. But I ain't letting you know. But I could be right with you. I could see it.
Well, we will find out on Saturday night, April 26th. Again, we'll put up a message and a reminder, but please join us. Listen to Teddy's live stream commentary. And before we go, any final words before signing off today?
Yeah, the fans would hate me to be in the fence, so I'm going to give a winner. I'll say Ben.
Oh,
how's that for a
I had to twist your arm a little bit.
How's that? Nah, I don't know, maybe, because you always influence me in a good way to be better. And I wasn't being better. I was taking the easy way out. And then you reminded me, no, we don't do that. We don't do that. Even if we're wrong, so what? We put ourselves out there.